There exists a type of creature in this world that has been discovered by only a few people, yet has never been officially confirmed. We collectively refer to such creatures as unidentified mysterious animals, abbreviated as UMA. Hello everyone, welcome to the UMA series. Water monsters have always been a topic people enjoy discussing. From rivers to oceans, almost every body of water, big or small, seems to have traces of them. Today, we are going to talk about a mysterious creature mentioned in a previous video, the Lake Victoria monster from Africa, known as Lukwata. Lukwata refers to a kind of aquatic creature found in folklore around Lake Victoria, including regions in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania, covering many local traditions. This creature is usually described as a massive lake beast, possibly resembling a giant snake, a whale, or an unusual enormous fish, with a body length of 20 to 30 feet, a round head, smooth black skin, and like most lake monsters, an underwater body that cannot be clearly identified. Since ancient times, the Bantu tribes living around the lake have worshipped this creature, believing that when Lukwata appears, it brings good luck, symbolizing a bountiful harvest and prosperity in livestock for the coming year. Recorded sightings of Lukwata date back to the early 20th century, with the most famous sighting occurring in the year 1900, when British diplomat Clement Lloyd Hill encountered the creature during his visit to British East Africa. However, Hill himself never made any official statement or left written evidence of his experience. But due to his sociable nature, he shared the story with 4 other individuals, namely British explorer Harry Johnston, colonial administrator Charles William Hobley, Nyasaland governor Hector Livingston Duff, and colonial official Henry Hesketh Bell. These 4 individuals recorded versions of the story in their respective works. Because their descriptions vary in detail, they will not all be listed here, but the general account is as follows. In the year 1900, Hill was traveling by steam launch from Kisumu to Entebbe. After leaving Homa Mountain, a beast suddenly emerged from the water and attempted to grab a local man sitting at the bow. Although it failed, the force was so great that it nearly overturned the boat. Hill was certain that what he saw was not a crocodile. The creature had a round or square head resembling a lizard, raised high above the water with a neck nearly 4 feet long. Part of its body was submerged, while the visible portion above the surface appeared as large, rounded, elongated humps similar to a camel's hump, and he even noticed what looked like a tail. The local crew on the boat called it Lukwata. Notably, the last recorder, Henry Hesketh Bell, in his book Witchcraft, besides recounting Hill's story, also mentioned his own experience. While traveling along the western border of Uganda, he once saw an unusual creature raise its head from the lake. He immediately shot and killed it, and a local boy accompanying him identified it as a small Lukwata. He described it as having a snake-like head, a neck and tail a few inches long, strange limbs similar to those of a sea turtle, and soft, gelatinous hind limbs. Therefore, Bell believed Lukwata might be a strange type of turtle. The second sighting has no exact recorded date, but according to available information, it likely occurred between the year 1892 and the year 1900. William Gorant, a provincial commissioner, described to Charles William Hobley that he had seen an animal swimming in Napoleon Bay along the Ugandan shore of Lake Victoria. Its head rose above the water, but due to the distance, its facial features could not be clearly seen. The final sighting took place at the end of the year 1959, when the Cox couple saw a humpback creature swimming in the waters of Pulau Bay in Kenya's Lake Victoria. It was estimated to be 20 to 30 feet long, with a black snake-like head, partially submerged, moving vertically up and down, and it swam very quickly toward the center of the lake. These sightings have provided ample room for imagination. But does such a large aquatic creature really exist? First of all, Lake Victoria is the largest freshwater lake in the world, with an extremely rich ecosystem, containing more than 200 identified species of fish. Many people believe that the story of Lukwata has been exaggerated, and that it might actually be a large fish, such as the Nile perch, which can grow up to 2 meters in length and weigh up to 400 jin. It has almost no natural predators in Lake Victoria. However, this theory has a major flaw, because the Nile perch was only introduced into the lake in the 1950s, causing a catastrophic impact on the local ecosystem, which does not align with the timeline of Lukwata sightings. In fact, the individuals who recorded Hill's story had different interpretations of what Lukwata might be. For example, Hector Duff believed it could be a large African rock python, the largest snake in Africa, capable of reaching a length of 7.5 meters. However, the problem is that rock pythons are not particularly fast and usually inhabit swampy areas rather than venturing into the open lake. Bell, on the other hand, maintained his view that it was a large African soft-shell turtle. Other hypotheses come from cryptozoologist Bernard Hevelmans. His first theory suggests that the snake-like head and neck, along with a ridged back, resemble the famous Loch Ness monster, which is often thought to be a long-necked marine reptile, possibly related to or evolved from plesiosaurs. He proposed that such a creature might have been trapped in the lake due to falling sea levels. However, using an undefined species to explain another unknown creature is not particularly convincing. His second theory proposes that Lukwata might be a large catfish, such as the marble lungfish or the Vundu catfish commonly found in the lake. He used this idea to explain Hill's story, suggesting that a hungry catfish could potentially attack a human on a canoe. In conclusion, the author believes that while the possibility of Lukwata's existence cannot be entirely ruled out, it is not very likely. Given the vast area of nearly 70,000 square kilometers of Lake Victoria, the presence of large aquatic predators is not impossible, and based on witness descriptions, such a creature could indeed be considered a dominant predator of the lake. However, since the 1950s, there have been no further confirmed sightings, while at the same time, species like the Nile perch introduced during that period have thrived and reproduced extensively. Therefore, it is likely that Lukwata is not as enormous as described. Additionally, Hevelmans proposed a third theory, suggesting that Lukwata is not a single species, a view the author agrees with the most. The origin of the name Lukwata can no longer be traced, and local people cannot provide a complete explanation, but it is known that Lu in the Ganda language means giant, while Kwata implies capture. Therefore, Lukwata is likely a general term used by locals to describe unidentified creatures in the water rather than a specific animal, which explains the wide variation in reported sightings. To this day, the true identity of Lukwata remains unknown. It could be a giant fish, a massive turtle, or perhaps even a marine reptile related to plesiosaurs that somehow survived the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous period and continues to exist today. As always, the unknown is far greater than the known, and that is exactly where the charm of UMA lies. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to share your thoughts.